make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Good morning from paradise, my fellow surfers. We have a big show for you today. We got a special guest, the founder of a project called Rome, which we call like $15,000 market cap. It's already 300K. They're killing it. They're kicking ass. Can't wait to hear more about Rome. FOMC meeting. We got the rate cut. Did they make a mistake though? Should they have gone 50 basis points? I think so. We'll have full analysis on Powell's speech. I just spent 55 minutes watching him drone on for the benefit of you guys. It's for you guys that we do these things. It's hard work here in the trenches. BNB hits $1,000, guys. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. I just saw they did the ICO at 10 cents. So congrats if anyone got in and held that long. And then we'll cover a multitude of other topics. We got some low cap gems, pulse chain projects that we love. We'll talk Surf. YakDAO just launched. Talk about them. Lots to cover today. So all right, I happened to be out with my son yesterday. He was sick. I was not able to watch the presser live, so I had to watch it this morning before we came on. Saw the 25 basis point. It's kind of like when you expect something, you're like meh. And then when you hear him talk, it actually became more and more apparent to me that I think they made a mistake. They should have gone bigger. They're talking about how bad the labor market is. Inflation's not really a thing anymore. Tariffs didn't really materialize in inflation. So why are you doing only a 25 basis point cut? I thought the economy is in a tough shape, Powell. So anyway, we'll talk more about that. Did anybody watch the presser? Did anyone read about it? And what's your initial take?
Yeah, I saw the AI analysis of the script, and then I did watch some of the presser until I got bored. So what's interesting is the script comes out early now, and now due to AI, you can literally run it through a prompt, and everybody on Twitter already knows what he's going to say, what the cut is going to be, and what the tone is, whether it's dovish or hawkish, before he even goes live, which I don't really love that, but, it is what it is. So 25 basis point cut. They're hinting at doing an additional 50 basis points the remainder of the year, which would mean probably another 2 25-point cuts, and we'll see if they end up doing more than that. I am with you that I think they probably should have done a 50 basis point to kind of, catch up and appease everybody. Obviously, if that happened, the markets would have exploded, but the 25 basis point cut, kind of what the market liked to see. You saw a little bit of red and then recovery, and late last night, Ethereum was to new highs for the move above $4,600. We'll kind of look at that chart, but really, market just holding firm here. But I think the bigger news isn't this first cut, but it's more that there's hints of future cuts coming the remainder of the year, switching from QT to QE, and we'll see what that does for the risk-on assets, NASDAQ 100, and gold moving forward.
Nate, I know you're asleep when this stuff goes down. You woke up and I guess, within expectation, so maybe a bit of a nothing burger reaction, but what was your initial take?
Yeah, I woke up and didn't have 9,000 notifications on my phone, so I knew nothing crazy had happened. I knew there was no 50-point basis cut when I woke up to a pretty mellow phone. I've read through, seen the clips, read through articles or, abbreviations like this that kind of highlight the main points. If I had to sit through an entire Jerome Powell speech, it would have put me to sleep anyways. So I'm happy to get the cliff notes the next day. But overall, I think the markets tell the biggest story. Nothing's doing a whole lot of anything at the moment because it was a pretty nothing burger event. He came out and didn't say anything too strong in either way. They only did the 25 basis point cut. So no fireworks, nothing crazy. Now we just got to see what happens the next couple weeks here with the market. How do they react to this? How much of that 25 point cut was front run? And where do we go from here? Is there additional news that's going to come off the back of this that can kind of give us a clue when we're getting the next rate cut, how big it'll be? Are they going to take any other measures to, start bringing down the jobless rates? Is the Fed going to start adding to their books soon? Or are they going to continue to sell, right? So there's a lot of stuff I think people are still waiting for because, Powell's speeches are usually pretty bookended and dry, so that no matter what happens, he can come out, saying that he was right. So very typical politician. But yeah, my overall take, no shockers, probably a good thing. Could have been worse. Obviously could have been better with 50 base points, but yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the market consensus. I don't know, Jason. By the way, let's get an introduction from you. Our viewers probably, who's this guy? He's got cool glasses on. He looks like a nice guy. What's his deal? So I don't know, Jason, you don't mind introducing yourself, maybe a little bit about Rome, and then we can switch gears back and finish this conversation about the FOMC meeting.
Yeah, so what's up, everybody? I'm the Jason. I built Gladiator Games, founded Rome Coin. I've been a lurker on Pulse Chain since before we even launched. I sacrificed. I was in Hex. I've been here for years, and I've been waiting for a play to earn game, and nobody built it. So, I've been a software engineer for a long time. Built code, more than $200 million a year passes through that code. In my professional career, I built enterprise software, and so I'm like, you know what? I can build it. So why not? Let's go. So I did. So here we are now. So nice to meet all of you guys. I have huge plans. But anyway, we can get into that later. But the FOMC meeting, honestly, it's a bit of a nothing burger, right? But it actually makes me feel pretty good because the economy's not doing bad. Like, there are definitely ways that it can be improved. Like, the labor market needs to be stronger. But the fact that they only cut by 25 basis points and the economy's not doing bad actually makes me feel pretty good about the future, about where we're heading. And if we can get 50 more basis points, I think that's extremely positive. It just tells me, like, hey, we've got a very positive economy moving forward. And they're just being safe. So, but
yeah,
we
that's
should
actually a good. I like that takeaway because that's kind of a holistic takeaway where you're not just looking at the rate cuts, risk on assets, pump my bags, and that's how we are. But you're saying the whole economy, and that's actually a really good point because even though the labor market has weakened significantly, we had those massive downward revisions. 900,000 jobs that were never really there. Only like 20,000 jobs a month created over the past 3 months. Still, unemployment's only 4.3%. The GDP is growing at over 1% in the first half of this year. So, the economy is in a pretty decent place right now. We're not in a recession. The R word hasn't come out anywhere because the data doesn't back that up. And so you could look at this rate cut as, okay, maybe they didn't do enough to buoy the labor market, and there's some definitely areas of concern. You look at recent college grads are really struggling. Minorities are struggling, and those are normally the first groups that are impacted by a job downturn. So there are cause for concern. But if you look at the big picture, like you're saying, things are not that terrible. So 25 basis point probably within reason. My take is that they probably should have made a bigger move. They are going to continue to do these further rate cuts because I don't see the job market really getting better. They talked a lot about immigration in the press conference, and that's something that we do talk about, but maybe not enough. And when you have a lot of immigrants who are leaving or they're not coming in anymore, that does affect the job numbers. It does reflect inflation. Inflation goes down. Job numbers go down. So I don't see this trend changing. I think we're going to get continued weakening of the labor market, and they should have just got out in front of it. They should have just been a little bit proactive rather than reactive. But hey, this is the Powell that we've been living with for the past 4 or 5 years. He's very conservative and baby steps. So it is what it is. 25 base point. To Nick's point, I think the biggest takeaway is that this is not done. This was not the last rate cut we're going to see this year. The Fed governors, even though there's a wide range of views, they're mostly aligned around we need to get these rates lower by early and mid 2026. Most of the target, if you look at like the dot plot, which they're anticipating, the prediction of where things are going, most of them are looking around like 3.5% interest rates by mid 2026. So that would require another 50 basis point or 75 basis point of reduction over the next matter of months. So we're heading in the right direction. If you're in risk assets, you should be happy. Maybe not ecstatic, but you should be happy. And things are progressing in a positive way. So I'm very bullish And maybe with that, why don't we turn over to some DGen stuff? You did a great introduction on Rome. I know Nick's been talking about Rome for a minute. Maybe Nick, you want to take it away and talk a little bit about your thoughts on it.
Yeah, first of all, before we hop into Rome, if you guys want to know about Gladiator Game in Rome, you're going to have to wait a little bit. We need to look at the BNB charts, and we need to look at the Bitcoin and ETH charts. The one asset that really loved the dovish action of the Fed yesterday was BNB. We've been saying that this thing was going to teleport to $1,000. We said it on this dip, we said it on this dip, we set it up here on the breakout. And BNB does not care what Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of the market is doing. Overnight, it went to $1,015. There's a lot of speculation on why that's happening. Obviously, BNB, a great asset. Buy and burns are built into it. You got Binance. But CZ also changed his bio. It used to say X Binance, and now he changed it to say Binance. Is CZ getting regulatory clarity? Is CZ coming back to the CEO of Binance? And will that lead BNB even higher? Most likely. We'll see what's going on. A lot of layer ones are starting to heat up as people anticipate altcoin market coming back. Yesterday we talked about Base maybe doing an airdrop. Today we got BNB to $1,000. Ethereum continuing to do well, needs to break over $5,000, and then will Pulse Chain play catch up? That's our goal, but we shall see. Ethereum yesterday in the live show was around $4,400. After the FOMC meeting, went as high as $4,700. Currently kind of holding in. So nothing crazy going on in the markets, but it is green. So everybody who was saying right when FOMC was going to happen, we were going to dump out, a lot of people took shorts there, and it actually went 1 to 2% against them in their short positions. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They're not going to close with it being 1 or 2% against them, but if you see Ethereum get back to this 4,800 level to 5,000, they'll either get liquidated or have to force close, which is how you get the massive green candles. The same thing kind of applies for Bitcoin. If you look at the charts, Bitcoin, if it gets to 120K, it will liquidate billions of dollars of shorts, or they will have to cover those positions, which is how you get the massive green candle towards 130. So, remember yesterday during the live show, before the FOMC meeting, Bitcoin was below 115K. Right now it's at 117.3. So not huge moves, but it is green, and a lot of shorts are being opened in anticipation that either a no basis point cut or even an expectation of 0.25 would be a sell the news event. And so far that just hasn't happened.
I don't know why you short the market now. Like, you're trying to be smart, you're trying to be cute. We're in a bull run. We're in a goddamn bull run, guys. What are you doing shorting the market? I hope you get liquidated. I hope you get liquidated. Good Lord.
Shorting or longing.
Get long, you degens.
Shorting or longing during an event like an FOMC takes some serious balls, because the markets always go absolutely nuts, up and down. We've seen some huge candles and huge wicks off of events like this. So whether you're trying to long or short, trading at all during an event like this is pretty wild. So I would stay clear away from it for days at a time.
Jason, I'm curious on your end. Like, you're a builder, obviously. I doubt you have time to do leverage trading, but I don't. Do you do any trading? Like, how do you manage your own portfolio in crypto?
So no, I do not do any trading. I've done a lot of trading in the past. I've traded on Solana and experienced enough rug pulls on Solana that I don't even bother with Solana. But I traded penny stocks back in the day. I don't trade. You can make money trading if you're good at it, but you have to be very good at it. I think Richard Hart once said, those who make money are holders and builders or founders. So I think you're crazy if you're trading an FOMC meeting. It's practically gambling, if you ask me. But, do your thing, man. Have fun. Hope you make money.
There you go. Yeah, most devs I know are not traders, so it's kind of why I assume. But I do, build and hodl, and if your time horizon is 10 years, you'll do well.
And if you're not a trader, check out the Frontier Fund, brought to you by the Surf DAO. Where guys like myself who don't trade, guys like Jason that don't trade, you can go get some passive income rolling there. But sorry for a quick interruption.
Yeah, I was just going to say the last thing we'll cover, and then we'll get into some of the gems on Pulse Chain, talk about Surf, Rome, Gladiator Games, and everything else. If we look at the Bitcoin dominance here, obviously we've been calling for this to go down towards 55%. We've been calling that since up here. You can see the bear flag we drew all the way when it was like 62 or 63%. Now you're seeing a potential head and shoulders, which is a bearish formation. And depending on where you put the neckline at, you're looking at a downward target of 56.75% to 56%. If that happens, that is an indicator that some altcoins have to be doing well. I don't think it means full alt season. Hopefully it means Ethereum above $5,000, BNB holds firm, and Solana heads back towards $300, because until those large caps really get some gains going, get some momentum going, get some new retail on board, it makes it much harder for small cap gems and mid cap gems to really have a true alt season. So this is another bullish indicator. All the macros are lining up. We're getting quantitative easing. We're seeing Ethereum trying to break that 5,000 level. We saw BNB go to 1,000, and Bitcoin dominance continues to put in bearish formations and slowly trickling lower. So hold on, guys. I know a lot of you guys are degenerates and heavier in alts. We don't own a lot of ETH. You don't own a lot of Bitcoin. And we're big Pulse Chain guys and altcoin guys. Well, look, the DeFi season, the altcoin season could be right around the corner. We're starting to see some pre-sales pop up with some good gains. We're starting to invest in some pre-sales again. I mean, things could get euphoric very soon, and you got to capitalize. So stay locked in.
Stay locked in and join the show and watch the show and, say things like good morning. Say things like GM. Remind people to smash that like, share, and subscribe button. And also give us your opinions. Because everyone here is commenting and getting engaged. You guys should too. Yeah, I don't like Powell. Look, the thing to understand about Powell, his term is done in 2026. And he got asked about that, and he completely deflected. I'm not commenting on that. But he's gone. He's absolutely gone. And they also got a question about the third mandate. He, again, completely ignored it, deflected it. But I think, look, Trump we know is a disruptor. Okay, let me just preface my point by saying that. He is not afraid to make massive changes to our society, to our economy, if he thinks that's the right thing to do. And so why would the Fed be off limits if that's his approach and his mindset? And so they asked him, Powell, about the third mandate, which no one really talks about, but that's long-term stable rates, basically, right? And Powell said, well, if we achieve, low inflation and we achieve our targets with the labor market, then we get that, long-term stability, so it kind of works out. But Stephen Miran, who's a Trump appointee to the Fed, is pushing this third mandate narrative, which is in the law. It's in the law that Congress passed that created the Fed, right? So it's there. There's legal basis for it. And what that would essentially mean and what that would justify is a much more interventionist Fed. It's a Fed that would really intervene more in the bond market. They would use many more tools at their disposal to get their desired outcomes. Whether long-term that's good or bad, that would remain to be seen. But I would not be surprised if the next Fed, chair of the Fed, who Trump is obviously going to appoint, that he's going to be a lot more interventionist. He's going to use many more tools at his disposal, and they're going to try to engineer the right economy rather than, we look at the data and we just kind of hope we get it right, looking through the rearview mirror and making changes and tinkering around the edges, which is what the Fed does now. So I think we're going to see in 2026, just like Trump disrupted tariffs, just like Trump disrupted immigration, just like Trump's disrupting all manner of things in this economy and in this country, he's going to disrupt the Fed, and we're going to see massive changes. So we're 7-8 months away. Let's look back in May and see if my take was correct, but I do think that's coming. A much more interventionist Fed. Stephen Miran will be there. Trump's appointees will be there, and I think that's good for financial markets.
Yeah, I mean, the financial markets agree with you. I was just floating through all the charts while you were doing that. NASDAQ 100, new all-time highs. That's the tech stocks. That's the risk-on stocks. That's what drives crypto adoption. You have the S&P 500, new all-time highs. That's the 401k plans. That's the pension plans. That's your average Joe working and putting in money every 2 weeks. And you got the industrials of the Dow Jones at new all-time highs. So, there's a lot of things you may agree, you may disagree, whatever. But when it comes to markets, when it comes to valuations and companies within the United States and the global picture, everything's at all-time highs here. So I don't know what you can be complaining about. And the crazy thing is, you're at all-time highs with quantitative easing just now starting. So let's get some retail on board. Let's get some people into crypto. And I think people that haven't been here, or you got bear market PTSD, think there isn't going to be another alt season. There isn't going to be euphoria. And primarily because a lot of retailers in the market currently are in altcoins that haven't moved. They're still down 70%, 80%. You don't own a lot of ETH that's at new all-time highs. You don't own Bitcoin at new all-time highs. You don't own BNB at $1,000. That's not life-changing gains in their eyes. So let's see if we find the same pattern where phase 1 is Bitcoin, phase 2 is ETH, phase 3 is large caps, and then phase 4 is euphoric alt season. And I like what I see from all the traditional markets. There's a ton of cash out there. And if these interest rates get cut again, people are going to be forced to move out of money markets and look for other investment opportunities. And let's hope it flows into either strategic reserve companies that are buying crypto or crypto itself.
Well, you know what happens when assets are at all-time highs? You start to see the smart people out there. Well, a crash is inevitable. I mean, it's all-time highs. Crash is coming tomorrow. It has to be. I got friends who think this way. I'm sure you guys do too. And I'm not saying a crash won't come. But have we had the melt up? Have we had the euphoric phase across all these markets? I don't think so. It's been a slow grind. And just think on this. Look at this chart on Nasdaq. We had a massive crash just in April. Remember? Who remembers that? I was pissed at Trump for like 2 weeks, a month even. We just had a crash. Just because the market's at all-time highs doesn't mean that tomorrow there'll be a crash. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who think this way. So I just want to remind folks, we can grind higher. We just started quantitative easing. We just got one little baby rate cut. More are coming. More is coming. Trump is going to continue to engineer this economy. He's going to continue to engineer the Fed. So stay long, stay convicted. We will tell you, by the way, when we think things are getting overheated. We'll absolutely be transparent about that. We'll tell you, hey, I'll be the first to say, I just took profits yesterday. I just sold a bunch of stuff. We'll tell you when we think that's what's happening. But I don't think we're in that melt up yet. I don't think crash is coming tomorrow.
That's actually a very interesting point. We've been looking at the M2 supply for quite a while now as an interesting metric of money sitting on the sidelines, and it's not been going down. It's been going up. We see Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, with more money than he's ever had, something like $390 billion now sidelined. I'm going to be very interested to see how they respond, what the M2 does, and what Berkshire Hathaway and other investors that have been sidelined. Now that we get the rate cuts, I'm very interested to see what they do. Do they start bringing capital back in, or are they that concerned that the market's overheated that they continue to stay sidelined for the next year as the economy rips back to the upside with these rate cuts? That's going to be a very interesting
when is Buffett going to fall into Bitcoin? That's what I want to know. When is Buffett going to break down and just buy $300 billion worth of Bitcoin?
He's too old. He won't do it. He's already made the money. What's interesting about Warren Buffett is, proclaimed as one of the best investors ever, and time is on his side. But most of his wealth, like 90% of his wealth, has been after the age of 60. So it's really a proxy of timing and having capital and just being long in the market at the right time. And, people talk about, oh, you're lucky in Bitcoin. There's ups, downs, lefts, rights. It's kind of like those people falling into the $9 billion Bitcoin positions after using a faucet. Not to say he's not smart, not to say he can't get with the times, but he's an old guy. He plays it really safe. They have the capital there. They're happy with their
He'll wait for a crash. I mean, that's his whole thesis, right? And
he's been waiting for that. He's been waiting for that for 3 years now.
Well, he should have bought in at the tariff crash. What the fuck was he thinking? Like, that's your crash. That's your whole thesis is like, you wait, you patient on the sidelines with a whole boatload of cash, and you just go heavy when that big, 20% correction comes. We had that in April. That was your moment, Buffett. What were you thinking? Probably got caught up in politics. I hate Trump. It's gonna all go down in flames because Trump is dumb, blah, blah, blah. Turns out Trump's actually not that dumb, and everything's going pretty damn well.
I mean, this is why we're all in crypto, right? We don't want to wait until we're over 60 to finally start making some real money, right? We want to make money now or in the coming few years. That's what crypto offers. You can jump into a good project or a good coin, and you can really do very well for yourself. And, yes, things are boring right now, but that's when you buy. You don't buy after it's so exciting and everybody's talking about your coin or crypto or whatever. You buy now, and you just wait. You be patient, and when it pumps, you will already be positioned. That's how you do it. And crypto gives you the best opportunity. It'll work with stocks. You just wait and find something good, buy when it's boring, wait. But you can maybe get 20%, right? And you're like, man, I made 20% on Apple. I'm a genius. But in crypto, that's where you can make the real money. You can put $500 into something, make 50 grand out of it.
Amen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
20% in crypto is like, you don't even get out of bed for that. And it sounds so arrogant, but that's the reality of this market.
It's true, right?
Well, I think that's why a lot of the retail isn't hyped up or FOMOing or getting their friends on board, because right now they're not really in those large caps that are up, 20-30% like BNB and ETH. They're still in one tier lower. They're in, the renders, the AI plays that are mid caps, so they're chasing the small caps on a daily basis. But talking about, let's slowly pivot to crypto. We do have traditional markets here. With the Ethereum Strategic Reserve, we got SBET, and here's the thing: traditional market participants can now make big gains. Maybe they'll start to wake up to it. We gave you a buy on SBET around $9. It's up 87%. SBT and BMNR are up almost double digits today, with Ethereum pretty much flat. So maybe the markets are waking back up to the opportunity. These things are trading right around their MNAV, which is a great opportunity if you think Ethereum is going to go higher. They have all their positions staking, producing yield. I mean, look at BMNR trying to break out to new highs for the move. We're up 97% on that. We bought the exact low live on air at $31 or $32. So if you're in the Surf Dial, you get these calls. If you're in the patreon.com/learncrypto, you get these calls. And if you tune in live, you get these opportunities as well. But crypto is coming into traditional markets and outperforming all the traditional market participants. I think that trend continues because we believe Ethereum is going to 5 figures this cycle. And talking about life-changing gains, we have you on here to talk about Gladiator Games and the Rome token over on Pulse Chain. We saw this thing on Pump Tires around a 15K market cap and gave it to our Surf DAO. You need 200,000 Surf or more to get those alpha calls and all the other benefits. And then people were like, well, I missed it. Well, it ran up to, I think it was 80K market cap, consolidated back to 38K market cap, and I did a full review video and put it in the Surf DAO first and the private groups first and then publicly. And what do you know? That ended up being the exact low before a 10x, guys. So yes, it's a micro cap. Yes, there's risks. And yes, you can't full port your whole portfolio into that. You shouldn't do that. But you guys continue to grind higher while Pulse Chain itself is flat to down. How are you doing it? What is going on with the Rome token in the Gladiator Games?
Okay, so all right, the point here is to build an awesome game, a really fun play-to-earn game that people actually enjoy. A lot of play-to-earn games out there are teams that want to make money, and they're just like, hey, let's make a game to make money. What we're trying to do is build a game that's actually enjoyable, that people actually want to play, and it's play-to-earn. That's the huge part of it, is that you can make real money. We paid out $650 in cash prizes last weekend. We're paying out $650 in cash prizes this weekend. We're holding tournaments every single weekend. So as we bring more players in, we're going to increase revenue. As revenue increases, we're going to burn the crap out of that coin, Rome. We're going to burn it as fast as we possibly can. So as we bring in more players, we're going to burn that coin faster. We're also going to add to the liquidity pools over time. It's a little bit thin right now, but that gives us a great opportunity to the upside. But then as we build up more revenue, we can start adding to the liquidity, which will hopefully help to prevent as much downside. So that's the goal. And so they kind of work synergistically, the coin in the game. The coin kind of brings some eyeballs, which brings some players into the game. The game then does its thing. It kicks butt. It makes it, a lot of fun for people to just get on there. And, there's an entry fee to a battle. You pay a quarter, 25 cents to enter a battle, or you can pay $5,000 if that's what you want to do. You get to choose. And you do a battle. It's based on skill. It's based on strategy. There's a lot of strategy before you even enter the battle. But whoever's the better person, they get to take home the prize. And same with the tournaments. The tournaments are held every single weekend. This weekend, there's $650 in cash prizes to the top guys. And it's all based on skill and strategy. That's the goal. And it's not pay to win. It's, we want gamers to win. That's the point. We want gamers to come in, have fun, play the game, enjoy the game, win, make money. Now, it does help to have better gear, and money can help you with better gear, but there are caps in some ways, just to keep things fun and fair. In fact, our winner from this past weekend, his stats were not on his Gladiator, were not as high as the other guy that was competing with him for first place, and he beat the other guy. So gear does matter, yes, but skill and strategy matters a lot. So that's what
I love this concept.
I know Web3 Nate might jump in here because he's a big GameFi guy as well, like myself. GameFi play to earn just hasn't stuck in other cycles. It always comes in every cycle, but it just hasn't stuck. What's interesting about your guys' project is, number one, you guys launched on Pump Tires, so completely fair launch. The liquidity is forced to be locked. All the tokens are in circulation. A lot of other GameFi games, play to earns, they have to worry about inflation, which causes token price to dump. With your guys' game, it's actually paying in PLS based on people paying in the platform with the PLS token. So if anything gets sold, it's PLS, not the Rome token. And you guys are utilizing Rome as more just, hey, if we earn revenue, we're going to the market, we're buying Rome, and we're burning it. And Rome is kind of representing that potential utility token moving forward. So I think that's why price is doing well. You guys have good supply control. You did pump tires and graduated, so there's lock liquidity there. And you're trying to buy and burn the token based off revenue that the game is already earning. And then, of course, you already kind of addressed one of the issues. It's not that big of a deal right now. You're a pretty small market cap. But if there's a way to use some of that revenue for either overhead development and some of that revenue for LP ads, that would be very beneficial to the project as well. So, Nate, I don't know if you have any opinions. I'm sure you haven't played it yet or really seen it. But I think they're just addressing a lot of the token utility projects of this, infinite inflation bug that previous games had.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of issues with the hype of GameFi last cycle when things were getting crazy. It wasn't necessarily GameFi's fault. It happened to be the sector that got caught up in the zeitgeist. We see this at the end of every cycle. People are chucking money at vaporware, at pitch decks that don't have any sort of product, users, anything. And that happened to be GameFi last cycle. I think it was kind of a victim to its own popularity. It wasn't quite ready yet, but I personally am a huge believer that GameFi will be one of the biggest trends in crypto. I don't know if it's going to hit this cycle, next cycle, but it's one of the few areas that makes the most sense. It has the most real value and utility within blockchain. And it's one of the fastest growing industries, sports even now. Esports is, if they're calling it a sport, it's the fastest growing sport in the world by far. There's a ton of money being made there. There's a ton of value to be derived by gaming coming on chain here. When it comes to Rome, anytime you get a first mover on an entire network, like that's a hard bet to go against. This is the first game to ever launch on Pulse Chain. It has the memeality. It has, like you said, it's a fun thing to come on there and support the ecosystem. You guys have tokenomics set up that have solved the hyper inflationary gaming metrics. So I love it. I need to go play it myself. Rome Total War, your image that you got up there for the logo, one of my favorite games of all time. I don't know how many hours of my life I've spent playing that game. So love that you brought the battlefield, the arena to blockchain. So shout out Rome. Let's go Pulse Chain. And at some point, I'm not saying it's going to be this cycle, but at some point, we will have another gaming run where people are making millions and millions of dollars in the gaming industry.
Yeah, and a lot of people aren't talking about it. It was talked about a little bit, months ago, and you haven't heard anything since. Is like Grand Theft Auto 6. Everybody's been waiting on that. When's it coming? Is that going to come this cycle? And I tuned into Aiden Ross a couple times and some other things, and they're talking about how crypto is going to be integrated. They want their own server to launch their own, native Web3 token and in-game currency and all these things. And now that it was just months ago, now everybody's like, oh wait, Grand Theft Auto 6 said they might do crypto. It's like that was all the thing when it comes to those streamer boys. I know a lot of you guys aren't tuning in, but I'm trying to feel out the entire landscape here, and those degenerates are the ones that are putting money into the markets. And I think if Grand Theft Auto 6 launches and the rumors of servers and crypto are true, that is where GameFi will catch a bid. Just like when Nvidia or AMD does well in the traditional markets and AI catches a bid, I think that would be massive for GameFi and crypto. And of course, there will be a lot of vaporware, there will be a lot of pump and dumpers. But when you have all of that, whatever those guys even are, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, whatever, talking about it to their hundreds of thousands of fans to go buy these random tokens because of Grand Theft Auto 6, that's where things can really get exciting. I guess the last thing we'll talk about on Rome, and I'll let Crypto Amaru jump in here, is you talk about buy and burns based on project revenue. And I know the game's new, so I'm not expecting big numbers, and you guys are only at a 300K market cap. But have you done any buys and burns of Rome yet? And if so, how many Rome tokens have already been burnt so far?
Yeah, so we have done a buy and burn. We made $550 in our very first tournament. Practically nobody knows about us yet, but we did make some revenue in our first tournament, and we bought and burned the coin. That was 0.2% of the overall supply. Then the OA is matching all of those, so we've now burnt 0.4% of the overall supply. We've been generating revenue this week. We expect this tournament to actually be quite a bit larger than this past one. So we are absolutely growing. I agree. I think GameFi is going to be huge. This is exactly the target demographic we need to be going after, is young guys and women who actually know how the internet works and know how to like click buttons on the internet and find things. Um, there's certain, my parents, they're not going to get into Pulse Chain. They're not going to get into GameFi. They're not going to get into these things. They don't know how this works. But gamers, they'll get into it, and they want something like this. Everybody loves to compete. Esports is huge. There's millions and millions of dollars in prizes in esports, millions, and it's a global thing. And that's exactly what we're going after. Sure, right now we're starting with $650 a weekend, but the goal is to get to millions of dollars a week in prizes. Now it's not going to happen tomorrow, but Rome wasn't built in a day. By the next cycle, 4 years from now, the goal is we are giving out massive prizes every week. Nobody else is going to do this. They're all trying to figure out how to, just make a quick buck. We're looking at the long term. I'm thinking, 15 years from now, Ready Player One, but ancient Rome, where you conquer other cities. You're battling other people. We have a lot of really big plans.
Crowd loves it. Crowd's going wild. As if they just watched a gladiator battle.
Yeah, you got to give them the
right
thumbs
there in
down.
ancient Rome here. That's it. I'm loving the pitch, man. Love your long-term vision on it. I think the weekly tournaments is actually huge, right? Because that's going to continue drawing eyeballs. You are incentivizing people to do that with the weekly prizes. I mean, I think it's fantastic. You're coming out here on shows like this, talking about the project. You're much more active, I think, and articulate as well about why people should be bullish on Gladiator Games. Obviously, we need Pulse Chain to start to do its thing and run a little bit, but you guys are buying and burning the tokens on a weekly basis, doing these tournaments on a weekly basis. You're doing your marketing. It's 300K market cap. There's only 150 holders or something like that, so you're very, very early. Lot to like about Rome. Definitely appreciate you coming on here and talking about it. And look, if you guys are listening in and you want to find about the likes of Rome and Gladiator Games early, you got to be in the Surf DAO. You got to get your 200,000 Surf. Get in the Surf DAO. That's how you find about a $15,000 market cap instead of, 300,000 is still good, right? I'm not saying it's bad or too high or something, but get in the DAO. That's how you get early access. And with that, maybe we can talk a little about Surf token. Looks like a little bit of a correction here. Oh, we're up 2% today, so that's nice. But kind of chilling at this 800K level. Man, what a steal for the likes of the Surf token.
Yeah, we saw a pump back to $1 million market cap when Pulse Chain was doing a little better just a couple days ago. Also, YakDAO launched and bought and burned like 200,000 Surf on their opening day of launch. So, Surf's still doing its thing. 200,000 Surf to get into the DAO, get the benefits of calls like Rome, but you also get passive income simply for holding. Hyper deflationary, burnt 2.5% of the total supply so far. And then again, there's 400,000 Surf or more, you get access to opportunities like the Frontier Fund. Nate, I don't know if you want to hit on that. We were talking about how it's really hard to trade. You don't really want to leverage trade, but there is a professional outfit, Frontier Fund, almost a hedge fund, that is doing very well and producing, 1%, 1.5% daily gains for us and for the Surf DAO members who invested in their fund. And you get paid out every 30 days. You can take the profits or you can compound and roll it. So you guys can play in the trenches. You can do your thing with DeFi and let professionals do the low leverage trading on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We always talk about staying in your lane. If you're not a trader, don't think you're going to go out there and make $1 million trading. You can get lucky here and there, but over the long run, it's proven most people lose their asses. It takes a lot to become a trader. But you can also trust the professionals and let them trade for you. That's why there's things like mutual funds, etc. And that's essentially what we've got with Frontier Fund, is a mutual fund on crypto steroids. These guys have been absolutely killing it for us. They have been doing this. I think Amaro, you got in on the almost 6 months ago on the early pre.
Yeah, I got in March, but they had already been doing it for 6 or 8 months even prior to that with their own money, testing different strategies, testing different tools, really perfecting their craft. So I was the first outside money essentially that aped in and took a bit of a chance, but like you said, it's done absolutely incredibly well. You're making about 15% a month net after their fees. That's been historically, and we're kind of on target for that for this month. Another round's opening up in about 4 or 5 weeks from now. Get your 400,000 SURF, get access to passive income, get access to opportunities like Frontier Fund, calls like Rome. We got the Quants pre-sale that we just announced. We're having a spaces with them tomorrow. I think that one can do 5, 10x out of the gate for us in the strategic round. So there is money to be made in this market. You have to line yourself with people who know what they're doing, and we've been in the space for a long enough time where I think we know what we're doing by now for the most part. Still make mistakes here and there, but I mean. You want to get aligned with people who've been in the trenches, and that's what Crypto Paradise is here to do. In addition to macro analysis and maybe some fun, entertaining banter every so often.
Yeah, now if 15% a month doesn't get you excited, you need to go get your head checked, because that's absolutely insane. That's what the best investors in the world in the traditional markets can do in a year, and they're doing this month after month after month. So. I know we're all looking for the 2x, the 100x, the whatever, but this is one of those things. When you look how compounding works, when you're making 15% a month for 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to start with a very small amount and have hundreds of thousands or $1 million within a matter of years. That's only available in crypto. You're not going to find this in TradFi. So, if that sounds good, let us know. Hit us up in the Telegram. And we'll get
I hate making money. I hate doing nothing and making money. I want to work really, really, really hard to make no money.
Yeah. Damn it! I only made 15% this month on my investment,
and didn't even lift a finger. God damn. So yeah, shout out to Frontier Fund. A lot of great opportunities. I know we covered Rome here. We covered Surf a little bit. YakDAO just launched. We got some other. Maybe we can pull up the chart on Fuck 9 to 5, because they're actually on a little tear too. I saw. We obviously hold a lot of their tokens. We're supporters of them still. We're the kind of influencers, KOLs who diamond hand things. So been working with them for like 6 months. Still hold a bunch of tokens. So I check the prices, and we're up like 40 or 50%. To me, in the past day or two. To me, and I'm seeing other Solana plays popping off. This is a harbinger of things to come. This is not. It's not like Fuck 9 to 5 announced some incredible thing yesterday and it just decided to moon. It's because the market's getting risk on again. People are getting bullish again. People are investing in memes again and low cap gems and all so on and so forth. So, this is just a taste, guys. 17% in a day. This is just a taste of what's coming on Fuck 9 to 5 and pretty much every altcoin I think that has a solid community and solid vision, backing, etc.
Yeah, it shows how quickly things can bounce. Up 55% off the low, hit as high as 60% off the low yesterday during the FOMC meeting. 1.41 million market cap. This was an alpha call to the Surf DAO group at 300K market cap. It's ran as high as $8 million. So, I mean, in at 300K, you had a run to 8 million. It's still sitting at 1.4 million. Pretty good gains there. And we'll see what happens with this one. Obviously, we still own a lot of tokens. The narrative is really strong. If Supoman or B-Roots or ENH or any of these guys, you probably recognize some of those names from Pulse Chain, the Pulse Chain people watching, mention Fuck 9 to 5 again, this thing could get explosive. I think we're involved around 300K market cap. Supoman got involved around 800K market cap. B-Roots got involved around a 1 million market cap. And now those guys are back in the greens with this rally. And usually when KOLs, influencers, investors get back in the green, that's when they make posts. That's when they get loud again. That's when they talk about it because they can brag about the gains that they're in, which spurs more FOMO, new buyers, and new eyes. So keep an eye out over the next couple of days. If Fuck 9 to 5 can hold these levels, keep an eye out for some of your favorite influencers, shillers, KOLs, and investors to speak up again, which could continue to drive prices higher on Fuck 9 to 5 over on Solana.
You know what would be better than the influencers just shilling at the tops and at the pumps? Is actually staying convicted, staying long, and staying consistently supporting something over a long period of time. What a thought, what a concept that an influencer wouldn't just shill for a week or two, disappear, and then maybe, if we're lucky, they'll shill again when it's pumping. What about an influencer who, like Crypto Paradise, continues to support for year after year after year? Here's Dubcat, great example. We've known BitShaman for, going on like 8-9 years now. We've had him on the show numerous times. He's a friend of ours. We still hold Dubcat that we got last year when we were doing marketing with them. So, just spitting facts, guys. If you want to follow guys who just show the tops and shill for a week and then dump on your heads, you can go follow those other people. But if you want to follow those who diamond hand and consistently promote things over a long period of time, you've come to the right place.
Yeah,
I
Dubcat
can
here.
speak into that.
Go ahead.
Actually, you guys, I'm sorry, you guys have been great. We've, you guys have been supporting the project, and I'm actually kind of blown away at the diamond hands here with this team, with your community. It has been really great, and you guys have been supporting us, Gladiator Games, the whole time. I can back up what you're saying with actual evidence. So, yeah, you guys have been great.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you taking on. And they probably hear me saying, they're like, Crypto Amaru, you're going on again with your rants. Just be quiet. We get it. You have diamond hands. We get it. But then we hear from Jason. Maybe it sinks in a little bit. So I appreciate that, man. It's great to be supporting you guys, and we'll continue to do that. But look at Dubcat here. My goodness.
Yeah, interesting. Yesterday I was wearing the Dubcat shirt live on air, talking about, hey, these things.
Right.
We're not gonna give Powell the shirt today. We're gonna do it for Dubcat for alts that we think have cult-like following that can rally good. And this thing rallied 99% off the low, back to 1.17 million market cap. Again, this is another one. We're in it at 100K market cap. It ran as high as 10 million market cap in the last mini Solana season, came back down, and now it's back above $1 million. So, I mean, some of these memes who have been working through the ups and downs, remember, we haven't had a real alt season. These are cult-like followings that you want to keep an eye on. And if they can make moves like this off the low with not much going on in the market, expect to see more green candles moving forward. So shout out to Dubcat, shout out to Fuck9to5, shout out to everybody in the Surf DAO that is in these assets at 100K, and you're sitting on 10Xs, and you're still diamond handing, waiting for that more massive alt season run.
Wait for that 100x. I get it. Look, if you're in 10x, if you got a 10x, you can sell some. I don't begrudge that. But look, I never made life-changing gains because I did 50 10x's. I made life-changing gains because I did like 2 100x's. And to do those 100x's, it did not just take a week. It did not take 2 weeks. It didn't even take a month. It took many months of conviction and holding and patience and downtrend and, oh my God, is the price going to zero? But no, wait, now it's moving like crazy. And wow, now, my life has completely changed. So look, patience, conviction, we talk about these things a lot. I don't think everything's going to do 100x, not everything's going to do 10x. So take some profits. I think it's fine too. But man, if you want to get those 100x's, you're going to have to hold a while.
What else do we got to cover today? I think another thing that we haven't talked about. We've talked about Floki and dog memes a little bit, but Doge is back in the scene because Doge ETF might get approved. It sounds crazy, but it could become a reality. And Doge has been doing very well here over the past time frames. You can see off the lows, this thing was down below like 10 cents down here, 13 cents, 12 cents, and it's back up to 28 cents with rumors of a Doge ETF becoming a reality. I don't know if you guys have heard any of that rumor, but if Doge gets
a reality, and I'll tell you why. So yesterday, the SEC just approved sort of a streamlined process for crypto ETFs. Previously, you had to jump through like a million hoops, spend $10 million on lawyers, back and forth SEC for 2 years. Now Trump, the deregulator-in-chief, I love it. Deregulator-in-chief, and the new head of the SEC, Paul, I think his name is, just came out with guidance yesterday saying you can now do an expedited, quick crypto ETF if your coin is trading, has certain volume requirements on like the Coinbase futures market or in US futures market. So there's about 10 or 15 assets that would qualify for this expedited, quick ETF, whatever, without jumping through the hoops. Doge is one of them. So this is why it's running. We're gonna have all manner of crypto ETFs. Look, did anyone think that 10 years ago you could bet and speculate on, what Powell's going to do tomorrow at the press conference? Did it 10, 15 years ago, I was watching yesterday in the news, did we think that New York City was going to allow gambling? Society's changed. Society's changing. Much more acceptance on this degenerate kind of investment or gambling type stuff, and you can begrudge it and you can hate it. But the fact of the matter is we are going to have a Doge ETF, and Wall Street types are going to be buying into it. I know it's crazy to think, crazy to see, but this is the direction things are going, and, this is the world we live in.
Yeah, I mean the chart looks like it's kind of repeating itself. You have this vertical run, this rounded bottom to another vertical run for a new all-time high, and look, vertical run, rounded bottom. Is it going to do another vertical run and attack it? Remember, this thing went to like what 75 cents or something. Elon was on Saturday Night Live last cycle, and it's not that far-fetched that if you get another vertical run here, put in a high above this 50-cent mark, that you're going to be trying to attack previous all-time highs and maybe hit that coveted $1 Doge goal. Remember, it was last cycle when everybody broke out the 100K Bitcoin hats and we fell just short, went to 69,000. Well, is $1 Doge, that was the target last cycle, fell short. Will it happen this cycle? Very possible. And even whether you hold Doge or not, you want to root for that because that does bring back some meme coins, that bring back the dog sector. We own Floki, we own Kaiken, and those dog memes will catch a bid if Doge moons and heads towards $1.
It's all going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It's all going to happen. Newsflash. We're in a bull run. The Fed is cutting rates. They're going to continue to cut rates. Risk assets are going to outperform. We are probably in a bubble or in the start of a bubble. Let's just be honest about that too. And there will be a reckoning. There will be a crash later. We're not there yet. We're at the start of a massive parabolic phase. So yeah, why can't Doge hit $1? That's only 3x from where it's at now. That's not a completely unreasonable, crazy thing to think. And we're not saying Doge is going to do XRP to $2,000. Like, we're not assholes out there saying that. We're saying 3x on Doge during a crazy bull run where everyone's investing in everything because the Fed's cutting rates, we're in quantitative easing, the dollar's in the shitter, and you got nowhere else to put your money. And that's just what it is. So, yeah, Doge to $1. Let's fucking go.
Well, that's the thing. With crypto, it's still so small. We talk about Bitcoin going nuts and Ethereum going nuts and Pulse Chain assets going nuts and Doge. And people might be like, well, how can all of these things see so much success? Because the entire market cap of crypto is less than NVIDIA. Because gold went from a $10 trillion market cap last cycle to a $24 trillion market cap this cycle. In under 5 years, it more than doubled. And we're not talking about a small 2x. We're talking about an over $10 trillion double. So can $4 trillion come into crypto and double the overall market, which means Bitcoin goes to probably 200 to 300K, and all the other alts, we rotate through the cycle that Nick was talking about earlier, and everything that we've talked about being bullish can still be bullish, and it doesn't take that much. When you look at the world economies, we're talking of tens and hundreds of trillions of dollars. Our entire industry is this big.
I'm so happy. We're so early. We're so pre-rich. We're so pre-rich, guys. But you know what? You're not going to get actually rich if you just cheat out at every 20% gain. And that's what I'm seeing happen across crypto Twitter. I'm seeing just a lot of skepticism saying, oh, it's going to dump. We're going to hit 90K Bitcoin. Sell everything now. Bull run's done. If you believe that and you buy into that, you're not going to make the monies, guys, because you'll have sold too early. You'll have sold too early. So have some patience, have conviction, long-term time horizon. It is going to take probably at least the rest of this cycle and maybe into the next for the crypto total market cap to hit 8 trillion, double what we're at. But I think it's completely possible for all the reasons Nate said. But it's not going to happen overnight. So just be patient. Let these things play out. Money is flowing in this industry ever so surely, and you will become rich from pre-rich if you can be patient and wait for this to all happen.
Jason, I don't know if you have any ideas or if you've seen this chart before, but gold is worth $24.6 trillion. Bitcoin's only worth $2.3 trillion. That means Bitcoin can 12x just to match gold. Also, we've seen NVIDIA there at $4.28 trillion. Every single crypto that is tracked and in existence combined is less than NVIDIA's market cap. That is pretty wild to think about. And that's why we say, hey, you're still early. Now, is it Bitcoin buy-in like 2009, 2010? No. But there's a lot of altcoins that you could do that. And even in 2018, 2017, Binance launched at 10 cents and is now $1,000. And still, we are just scratching the surface of the traditional market valuations that we see on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, that's, what you guys are saying is just gold. And I really hope people are listening because there is so much money in the world just sloshing around. There's gigantic oceans of money. And crypto is so small that once we just get a little trickle of those oceans, things are going to go to the freaking moon. Okay. And yeah, it's going to start with Bitcoin because Bitcoin's the big dog, right? And then it'll go to Ethereum and Solana and all the other, next level down coins. But then it's going to start trickling down to the smaller stuff. Pulse Chain's going to catch a huge bid. And then everything on Pulse Chain's going to catch a bid. And guess what? Things that are on Pulse Chain that are good products are not just going to catch a bid, they're going to catch a mega bid. And so, this is exactly what's going to happen. It's kind of like that tower of glasses that you'll see at a wedding where the champagne's poured on the top and it kind of trickles down. That's exactly what's going to happen, except when our coins are small, they can massively pump. So, and that's what's so exciting about Gladiator.
It really is as simple as that. And I mean, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I just feel like there's got to be a large cohort of investors and traders within crypto who just don't really believe that. Because if they did believe that, they would stop selling all the damn time. Right? And we clearly see there's a lot of sellers. I mean, I'm in these charts, I'm in the trenches, I see a lot of sellers, coming in, and, anytime there's a little sign of weakness or, okay, negative news comes out, I'll sell everything. Where are the people with diamond hands and conviction actually believe in this asset class and believe in the trickle-down theory, which isn't even a theory, it's a fact? There needs to be more people like Jason, so I appreciate you jumping in and giving your thoughts. What do we see here on PLS today, by the way, there, Nick?
Yeah, it looks like Pulse Chain is green today, up 2.2% for PLS, up 6.95% for PLSX, 6.3% for Inc., and 3.86% for Hex. The interesting thing is a lot of people started rotating from PLSX to PLS, chasing the outperformance in the short term for PLS. Since day one, we've been a proponent of saying PLSX will outperform. So far, that has been what is happening. There's going to be ebbs and flow in this ratio. I still think the token utilities, the token buy and burns, and the fact that it is a benevolent decentralized exchange token, if you get retail adoption, you get user adoption, you got pump tires, PLSX is still going to outperform PLS over the long term, and it's doing that. But regardless, I think all of these are undervalued. We play more in PLS, PLSX versus Hex or Inc. Obviously, the OGs are more into Hex. That's where they made their money. That's what they hold. But I think you're going to like all these. Surface paired with all these and in a liquidity web, and we're rooting for all of them to go higher. And I want to make one more comment. You were talking about, well, this ad sucks. I don't know why this is here. You were talking
about Mazdas.
Yeah, we're talking about Mazdas. We're not getting Mazdas, boys. We're getting Lambos. But anyways, you're talking about
different kind of bull run.
You see the total market cap hitting like 8 trillion, maybe not this cycle, but next cycle. What if I tell you the total market cap of crypto goes to 10 trillion by the end of 2025? And that really doesn't take that much if you look at the math. If Bitcoin does a 2x, that's 5 trillion by itself. If Bitcoin does a 2x, what does ETH do? Probably a 4x. That's another 2 trillion by itself. You're already at 6 trillion. And then what does XRP, Doge, BNB, Solana, all those add up to? I don't think it's very hard to hit that 5-figure, $10 trillion total market capitalization for crypto, not by even the end of this cycle, but by the end of this year. It really only takes Bitcoin to get close to a double, Ethereum to get to 10K. And again, we'll see what happens. That would mean we need a euphoric run to come in these last 3 months. But history will tell you, the 4-year halving cycle will tell you that we do get euphoric runs in these last few months here in the end of this year. Now, maybe it's a little dull because we think that we're going to extend it into 2026. But I think people forget how quickly these markets can move and how fast that can trickle down in these other large caps, which will be major additives to the total market capitalization of crypto. When you see BNB at $1,000, $1,500, Solana at $300, $400, those are big numbers being added to that total market capitalization of all of crypto.
Well, I don't know if we're hitting 10 trillion by the end of this year, but I do know we're going higher. I know everything is going higher. So if you're thinking about selling out now, get your head checked. Like, this is not the time to sell. This is the time to hold on, buy more, diamond hand. Like, the next 3 months are going to be explosive. Whether it gets to 200K or whether, we only get to a measly 150. It's still more. It's still more than it's worth right now. So, just hold on, be patient, add if you can. Again, we will tell you when we think the crash is coming, but it ain't happening tomorrow. So, just hang on your hats, folks. By the way, I wanted to just add real quick on the PLSX discussion. You can backdoor your way into nice PLSX holdings just by buying the microcap gem that launched on Pulse Chain a couple days ago called YakDAO. One of the utilities of YakDAO, you hold the token, you actually earn PLSX every time there's a YakDAO transaction due to the token taxes. So I'm kind of backdoor. I mean, we're a pretty big bag of Yaks token. We're backdooring our way into a PLSX position, and you're getting a token that's sitting at $150,000 market cap with a real world glamp site that's generating revenue down in North Carolina. It's a legit project, 150K market cap. You can earn your PLSX that way.
That is a good point, and the property they own is worth like $1 million. So we talk about MNAVs when it comes to Ethereum strategic reserve companies. and they deserve MNAVs over 1, meaning their value of their ETH is worth more than or worth less than the value of their company. And right now, Yaks is kind of flipped. It's a 150K market cap token project, but has $1 million in real world assets. So part of that is due to obviously market conditions. It just launched. It launched at like a 10K market cap. So people are still sitting on 10Xs taking profits. They had an airdrop go out of previous community members. So some of them are just taking the free money. But once all that kind of rinses out, they start the buyback and burn program. Maybe you see them market because they've done no marketing. They kind of wanted these people to get flushed out. You would expect the value of the token to at least get closer to the value of the property itself over time. And that's still another 10X from here.
By the way, there's also now sitting on big bags of PLSX due to their own holdings. The project, that they've been generating PLSX for the past 3-4 days. It's been launched. I bet you it's like $4,000 or $5,000 worth, and that's gonna go to a big buyback of Yaks. So yeah, I mean, you guys can cheat out. And get an airdrop. Feel free to sell. You're probably not watching the show, so good riddance. And then those with diamond hands who believe in the project. I mean, a 10x on Yak DAO through this cycle, based on the fact their property is already worth $1.5 million and they're generating revenue through the bookings, seems conservative, right? That would mean it would hit a $1.5 million market cap. Nothing insane. So 10x from here, completely within the realm of possibility. You guys are looking for gems, low cap gems. We think we found one in Yak DAO. We found one in Rome. SURF as well, sub 1 million. So if you're not caring about BNB, you're not caring about ETH, Bitcoin, these are some projects. Do your own research, obviously. Don't just listen to what we have to say. Nothing is financial advice, just our opinions. But check out these projects, see if you like them. We think they're low cap gems and have a chance to do very, very well this cycle.
Yeah, hey guys, really appreciate you guys having me on here. I want to just let everybody know, go to gladiatorgamescrypto.net. That's where our site is. That's where you can get started with the game. It's a lot of fun. Join us this weekend for the tournament. At the very least, jump on the Telegram and join us in the voice chat. We're going to be having a lot of fun playing the game, talking, kind of trash talking a little bit. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's Gladiator Games PLS on Telegram. And then, check out our X account. It's at Glad Games PLS. We're posting there all the time, giving updates. So come check us out. Play the game. There's a free version. You don't have to pay money to play. That's fun. And then there's also the live version.
Badass, man. Appreciate that. We got a couple more comments I want to show before we jump off. We talked about FUCK 9 to 5. Feels like one of those meme coins that can go parabolic. Absolutely. I mean, great community, great narrative. It's one of those culture coins or movement coins. It's all about gaining that financial freedom so you can quit your 9-to-5 job, which is something that obviously resonates with us here at Crypto Paradise. And then we talked about Doge. We talked about Floki, and we also talked about Kai. Kai is one of the Japanese Inos, right, that SHIB is a part of, other huge dog memes. So if you have a Doge season, because this Doge ETF, then it would stand to reason that undervalued dog memes like a Kai that's been around for 1.5 years now, still sub 1 million market cap, over 5,000 holders, great token distribution, cult-like community, all those things, should outperform and do great. So look, we're trying to bring you guys the gems. We're trying to bring you the real projects that are not going to be rugs, pump and dumps. I think Gladiator Games checks that. FUCK 9 to 5, Yak DAO, SURF, Kai. A lot of projects to talk about. Just go through our timeline and you can see the coins that we reference and that we like. We're diamond handing them along with you guys, waiting for this explosive alt season.
Yeah, one of the easiest ways to get over to Pulse Chain for people who aren't there is Liberty Swap. So check that out. You can go from virtually every network over to Pulse Chain with a couple clicks. You can bridge USDC in from ETH, from Base, and BNB, and Solana, and so many other opportunities. So this is kind of the easiest onboarding method over to Pulse Chain, and then you can get your Glad Games. Also, for those of you who just happen to see the search function here, maybe or maybe not, some of these are some projects that we are talking to and maybe will be involved with on a marketing and investment side. Maybe you should own 200,000 SURF to get their alpha there. That's all I can say, because there's going to be a lot of gains. And yes, you can tune into the live shows and you'll still probably make some money, but you're probably going to miss out on the first 2x, 5x, 10x like you did for Rome if you wait till we go public. The private groups get that information first. They get the inside information as well. And then we try to amplify that on our public socials and our live shows, usually bragging about all the green candles that come shortly after that.
Shout out to all you down members for already there. Shout out to you future down members. We've had a few down members joining over the past couple days, actually, which is great to see. So maybe, Jason, we can get you involved too. It'd be great to have you in there. Get you down also to Tulum. We're doing the big retreat here, end of the year, maybe beginning 2026. After we have the explosive bull run, everyone has money. We're going to go on a big party retreat. Great to have you there as well. But yeah, we're coming up on over an hour. So I thought great session today. Thank you, Jason, for joining us. We will be back tomorrow, Friday. Maybe we'll do something special, have some fun. I don't know. We got a big surf buyback that we need to get sorted out. Who knows? Maybe we do that live on air. We'll have to see. But great stuff today as always. Until then, see you on the beach. All right. Good shit, guys.